episode is filmed at the Peninsula Hotel, Beverly Hills.
It is Tuesday, and you do know what that means. Yes, it's No Filter Tuesday, and I am here today with a man that's a legend, beyond an icon. He's part of my life, he's part of your life. Now, this man has been working consistently in the music business for more than half a century. Yes. And yet, when you look at him, you're going to say, how is that possible? Because he doesn't age. He sold more than 100 million albums worldwide. He has got so many awards, I'm going to try and name a few. Grammys, loads. Oscar, yes. Golden Globe, yes. Kennedy Center Honors, BET Lifetime Achievement Award, and there's Brits, and there's NAACP Image Award, the World Music Awards, there's so many awards, honestly. And then, if you want...
Just continue. That's amazing. That's amazing. I mean, I was so amazing.
If you want to be serenaded,
yes,
there's no one in the world more than you to serenade.
Me.
You! I mean, the love songs, Lionel. Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Lionel Richie.
Thank you, darling. What an intro. What an intro. I love it.
If only everyone knows how funny you are. Mwah, mwah, mwah.
Darling, here we are.
Oh, my goodness, Lionel. I know you are so busy, and I can't thank you enough for fitting us in.
This is our perfect excuse to meet. Do you realize we have been traveling all over the world, in and out, and we've never had time to sit down?
I know, it's true.
So when you asked me to do this, I said, well, this is the only way we're going to catch up.
This is so true, but Lionel, we have seen each other all over the world.
But it's like this.
But where did we actually meet?
That's a good question.
I don't know which country. Was it in the United States? I don't think it was United States.
I don't think that's the greatest question I was prepared for every question, except when did I first lay eyes on you? Because you've been in every magazine throughout my entire existence. I don't remember. I want to say probably London, you think?
For me, I feel like it's London or Monaco.
Oh, okay.
It's one of those.
God, that's the greatest question. We have to go back and do some research.
We got to go back and do some research.
Okay.
For real.
Okay. We might not want to know if we can't remember.
If we can't remember, no.
Might be a problem.
Family.
Good to see you.
You too, my darling. How you doing?
You know what? Life could not be better. I must be honest.
You look fantastic, as always.
I'm having so much fun. I must honestly admit, everyone keeps telling me about the ruggedness of the music business. It wasn't the music business that tried to kill me. It was my kids that tried to kill me. Nicole and Paris and Miles and Sophie.
Nicole's been on this show. She was the third guest ever.
So then you understand.
No, Nicole and I were in Paris together. We were in New York together. We've traveled the world.
I went through Nicole during another time. And she is now refined, and everything now is dead. We don't use those words around the kids. And
Nicole has always been refined.
You understand me. But through the period of my training.
Oh, you got trained good.
You
got trained.
She was trying to train me, and almost worked. No, but I mean, it's really a great time right now because I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying the ride.
But you've raised beautiful kids, and you've kept your career going throughout. We have to start from the beginning. Like we always say in this show, we're going to start from the beginning. Was your parents into music, brothers and sisters? How did music come into your life?
It was a funny thing. My grandmother, who we stayed, my mom and
dad. And where did you grow up?
In Tuskegee, Alabama. Let me take us. I grew up on the university campus. At that time, we just called it the bubble. With all the stuff that was going on in the civil rights movement, everything that was going on in the 50s, 60s, 70s.
Yeah.
I was on a university campus. So it was a melting pot of a culture of everybody in the world. We had Dr. Dipchek from the engineering department. I mean, everybody was there. I can't believe I remember his name. But the point was, it was just a melting pot of the world. And so from there, we had my grandmother, who was a classical pianist and instructor on the campus.
Oh, wow.
Number one. My father's brother played in the big bands, and he was the one who gave me my first saxophone.
Oh.
And that's another story. And then from there, we have the gospel choir on the campus. William L. Dawson was the conductor, very famous.
I love how you remember everyone's name.
Oh, no. You know the names because
Don't
it
mess
was
with Geminis.
drilled into my head every day. Say hello to Mr. Dawson. Hello, Mr. Dawson. Hello, Mr. Kenny. How are you? So we knew the names. And then, of course, we're in R&B heaven. Because for everything that was coming through, R&B music was it. The blues was there. And on top of that, we had country music all around us. In fact, pop radio was country music.
Yeah.
So it was just one of those things. I grew up in a melting pot of the music scene, but I never thought in my wildest imagination I would be a singer-songwriter.
Well, now, you also was an athlete when you were growing up.
Yes.
Didn't you want to be an athlete?
Yes, I glad that you brought that up. I want to clear this record.
Well, was there a speciality or running or javelin throwing?
You know, well, see, I always tell people, yes, I was a tennis player, and I could play tennis when you could see the ball. Now,
what do you mean?
Well, now they have 100-mile-an-hour serves, and they have 100-mile-an-hour forehand and backhand, and they keep telling me, I keep hearing, okay, next point. Next point, I said, well, where's the ball? So I kind of gave up early in life that tennis was not going to be my thing. And then, of course...
But good discipline.
It taught me a great thing. They had great little things that happens where your coach will say certain things to you that stuck with me. Okay, don't let the point make you lose the game. Don't let the game make you lose the set. So you use that in life. There's a great book called Tennis that they gave us years ago that basically gave all the principles of tennis that applies to life. And I remember forget the tennis part, the life lessons of tennis, of staying.
Are you listening to this, folks? Life lessons here.
Pay attention.
Pay attention.
Even I'm discovering this. I can't even believe I remember this. But it was just one of those things where from tennis, it gave me the kind of the mantras to stick to. Okay, that was the...
You just applied to different parts of your life.
Yeah, just move on.
I'm all into those mantras and life lessons.
Yeah, but you're going to ask me so many questions.
I've got to get into them.
We could just stay on one subject all the way through. But I know you've got so much.
No, you don't even know. We've just been having a ball. So then tennis didn't work out. So how did music come into your life?
Glad you brought me back.
Yeah.
So tennis did not work out. And so, again, I'm on the campus. First of all, I lived there. And then we went away to Joliet as a family. And 2 years later, I decided all of my friends are going back to Tuskegee, where we just moved out of, because my father had a job in Joliet. Okay. So I'm coming back to school at my hometown. When I came back, I'm on the campus, and I meet 5 guys. And we're going to have a freshman talent show. We're the freshmen. And did I bring my horn to school? Yes. I didn't answer the second part of the question. I brought my horn to school to learn how to play it. Did not tell them that because I didn't realize at that point I could play the horn by ear. Not so much by the notes because, let me give you a little background. ADHD and ADD was not thought of back then. It was just called, he's having difficulty reading, or he's but meanwhile I could do the speed reading, of course, with flying honors. Individual words you can't do. So in the reading music, it's not that I can't read the music, it's tracking. So if you happen to play a saxophone part, I can play exactly what I heard.
Right, what you heard, yeah.
If I hear it on the piano, I can play exactly what I heard. It's just not going to come out that way. So, to make a long story short, I met these 5 guys. They said it's going to be a freshman talent show. We go to the freshman talent show. We kill. All the girls are screaming, and I did not like it at all because...
Yes, you did.
No, I did not. You know, Naomi.
Really, Lionel?
The person you know now and the person back then is 2 different people.
Were you shy? Because Geminis are shy.
Painfully shy. To the point
shy and talented.
When the curtains opened, I literally took side steps to the right and walked off with the curtains.
What were you wearing? Do you remember?
Yes, the tightest white pants. God-awful white pants. Yes, and just to show you that, back then we had ROTC on the campus. So we wore our Air Force blue shirts.
I see.
And the white pants.
And the white pants.
We all looked quite...
dapper.
Dapper.
Very dapper. So then tell me this part. Where did the part that I heard that that you wanted to be a priest. Is that true?
Oh, that was just before the.
That was right before you became into music.
You heard that rumor, did you?
I heard that rumor.
Well, let me clear that rumor up for you, because it all happened about the same time. I really didn't want to be an Air Force pilot, because most of my friends, you're sitting there, your freshman year in college, and everyone's going, "What are you going to be?" Some guy says, "I'm going to be a lawyer." Another guy says, "I'm going to be a coach." Another guy says, "I'm going to be an Air Force pilot." I don't want to be any one of those, right? So I figured, okay, business administration is the way to go. But also, most of my influences were Episcopal priests.
Right.
Now, Father Jones, Vernon Jones, was probably one of the strongest influences in my life in terms of having someone to kind of talk to you every Saturday. By playing pool and ping pong, I was an acolyte. And naturally, by sitting and talking to him, you learn one more thing about the clergy and one more thing about, and I thought, what a great way to talk to people, because he was one of those communicators. And then something terrible happened. I joined the Commodores.
That's not terrible.
No, I joined the band, and something that had never happened to me before in life. Remember now, when you play football, the girls scream.
The girls scream.
When you play basketball, the girls scream.
And when you're a priest, the girls don't scream. They kind of do scream.
Wait now. But when you play tennis, there's no girls near the tennis court. Back then. Silence. Just imagine I played the talent show, and some girls said, "Sing it, baby." And I remember calling up Father Jones and Bishop Murray and Bishop Father Caution, and I said, "I don't think I'm going to be priest material." And that was.
You knew then?
Oh, right away. Are you kidding me? And that was a different kind of congregation, and otherwise, I just needed to.
So talent show. So you made up your name. You were already Commodores when you did the talent show.
No, we were the Mystics.
Mystics.
Very good question.
The Mystics.
We were the Mystics when we did the show. There was a senior group there called the Jays. That was the #1 group on campus.
Not the OJs.
Not the OJs.
The Jays.
The Jays.
Okay.
And a lot of them were graduating. So there were two other guys that were going to be left in Tuskegee, and they were looking for a new group, basically group of members to change the group. And so we started getting phone calls one by one. "Hey guys, can we meet with you and the guitar player?" And they just kind of cherry picked us. And the next thing I know, that we're sitting there with these two guys, Jimmy Johnson and Michael Gilbert. I can actually remember their names.
You don't forget anyone's names. It's incredible.
I'm kind of like Quincy. I got to
You
call
do
it.
not
Quincy doesn't forget
anyone's name.
And
amazing.
And so from there, we decided we're going to change the name of the Jays. We didn't want the Jays, and they didn't want the Mystics. So let's call it the Commodores.
So Commodores, you were 5 initially then?
We were 5.
5.
We went to 6.
Went to 6.
We wanted we had the trumpet player, 2 saxophones, the trumpet player, and then the rhythm section.
So then, first break for the Commodores. When did you sign to Motown?
That's well, we played and we played and we played.
Yes.
You know, I would say 3.5 years of actually playing every club we could
around the country.
You name it, we were playing.
You get on the bus on tour?
It was not a bus. We were driving.
You were driving
I beg your pardon, and a U-Haul trailer behind. Let's just talk about it. And then we went to New York City and met a guy named Benny Ashburn, who was going to be basically our manager. Now, he was, of course, with Brown Shinley Liquor Company as a representative, but he knew everybody in Harlem.
There's always Benny in the music business, right?
Always a Benny.
Always a Benny.
Always a Benny.
Yeah.
And so from that point on, we got together, and Benny said, let's go play the Cheetah in New York. And it was wild, and it was crazy. And then this lady walks in, Suzanne DePass.
Yes.
You know Suzanne. And
she's a legend.
Yes, and she said, I have my first job. My job is to take this new group called the Jackson 5 across America on their first U.S. tour. I'm looking for an opening act. And Benny said, they're right in my apartment underneath my tables and chairs and on my sofa. And we had an audition. We played for the Jackson 5 across the entire U.S. tour.
Oh my gosh.
When we got to L.A., California, they saw us, they signed us, magic happened.
So, I mean, you and Michael were together since early, young.
He was about like that, and actually they were all very young, and very mischievous. And we kept thinking about, are we babysitting or are we, you know what I'm saying?
Michael was
You know what I'm
mischievous till the end.
Oh my God, I mean, they just love to play all these crazy
Oh,
tricks.
I love playing pranks with him. That's what we did on the video set.
Well,
We played
see,
so many pranks.
You have no idea. If you leave your shoes outside the door to be polished at the hotel,
Get it.
you wake up the next morning, they put ice cubes in your shoes. And what they didn't tell you was by morning it's melted, so your shoes are like
Floating,
this, right? Or they put itching powder in your afro on the
itching
plane.
powder.
Now, have you ever seen an afro just beautifully picked is one thing. An afro with itching powder in it after an hour flight,
Ooh.
and you don't care what you look like.
Ooh.
But they thought it was so...
that sounds really...
But they thought this was so
really
funny.
excruciating and painful.
Yeah, but we got him back. we got him back.
What was the best piece of advice you received during that period of time when you signed with Motown, started touring with the Jacksons?
That's a good question. You know, I do remember one because...
What made you feel like this is right?
Well, you go in one day and you realize, you walk out on stage, and we were listening to them coach the Jackson 5 while they're coaching everybody else, but we just happened to be the ears on the wall listening.
Yeah.
And they said, whatever you do it in the first song. If you dance, do it in the first song. If you flip, do it in the first. Whatever it is, because they may not stay around with the second song or the third song.
Really?
Because when you don't have, now this is backwards, we didn't have a hit record then.
Okay.
So we're the opening act.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to get these 7, 8, 9, 10-year-olds, this is the audience. How do we get their attention? So we had to do things, because we're playing top 10. We're not playing any hit records as their opening act.
Okay.
Now they, of course, could linger it out. Just Michael showing up on stage with his brothers, they'll scream for half an hour.
Yeah.
But we had to go out and get that really to the table. When it really felt right to us is one person wrote, oh my God, the Jackson 5 we were expecting. But the surprise of the evening was the Commodores. That was a San Francisco newspaper, and I remember thinking, oh my God, I think we did something, fellas.
You did something magical.
I think we did something magical. And then, of course, when they said they wanted to sign us, it was like, really? Because remember now, up to that point, your parents are saying, listen, I'm from an academic, academic community. So, you know, the lawyer, doctor, you know, school teacher, whatever you're going to be, but it has to be in that realm. And here I am with this band. Lionel will be over with this band in just a minute.
It's a hobby.
It's a hobby, something he'll get over.
Yeah.
And finally, it was when I really took the contract in and said, Dad, check this out. It was like, no, really?
That, okay, now you got a job.
And then when the check came in, he claimed the check. So I'll tell you all about that in my next installment.
I think I read, or did you tell me a long time ago that Stevie Wonder, one of your fellow record label mates, played a trick on you. Tell me, what trick did he do?
Well, the one that...
We want to know the joke that he played on you.
Oh, my God, Naomi. If you know Stevie, and you do know, he's also a practical joker. And he just loves to wind you up. And back in the day, he would just do things or say things that would just catch you off guard. For example, he says, Lionel, good to see you, man. How have you... Well, first when your kids, you know, he'll say things like
But
that.
I heard a specific practical joke that just cracked me
Okay, so
up.
I know which one you're talking about. So I go to his house, and we walk in, and he comes over while everybody's setting up and stuff. We're talking. He wants to play some music. He says, I got this song for you. Come out to the car. So I said, oh, okay. So he has the cassette. Cassette. Let me say that right.
Cassette.
He has the cassette. And he goes out, and he says, no, get in on the... We're at his house.
But a lot of people used to play their music in the car.
In the car. That's how you get to hear it.
Yeah.
Okay, so he said, get in on the passenger side. And he goes around and gets in on the driver's side. And then he cranks the car up. And then he puts the cassette in the car. But then he does this. And he starts, and I said, Stevie, what? Right? And then of course he starts laughing. and puts it back in pocket. But I mean, you understand me.
Did the car move a little?
Yes, but the point was, it was at that moment, I don't remember anything about the song he played. I just kept thinking, I gotta get him this car.
You were safe.
Stevie
you were
was
safe.
crazy.
Stevie wasn't gonna
And then I kept
hurt
thinking,
you.
maybe he's not blind. I don't know, because if you've been around Stevie,
There's some
days you really don't
He
know.
has an inner sense that, yes, he does.
But that
Absolutely
day,
does.
he got me really, really good. I'm enjoying this. You
enjoy-
we're just visiting. You understand me? I hope everybody understands this.
So tell me, from practical jokes, everything is moving great, Motown's rocking, Barry Gordy's being good to you, Suzanne Dupasse's being good to you, you're part of the Motown family. Then when did you start to know that these love songs, who are gonna just wreck us, were like flowing out of you? And how do you write these songs? Is there a way, process to write these songs?
Now you are now asking a question even I've been asking the universe forever. You know this.
Is that a special place you go?
No. I'm a hopeless romantic. You have to understand me. I was never the, hey, how you doing? Come over, let me talk to you for a minute. My name's Lionel. You know, I was never that guy. You know, I just don't know how to be that guy. I was always the guy that said, oh my God, Lionel, come over here. And I go, hi, how are you? And they'd go, fine, would you like to join us? Well, okay, I mean, I can. You know, I was that guy. You know, I wasn't quite sure how to make this work. So I was the guy that had the secret person inside of me. I knew what I wanted to say. I just didn't have enough guts to say it. Well, so I've got Yet. Then I've had football players that come by and they say, I'm having trouble with the girls, so and so. And I go, guys, just tell them this and that, and that'll solve the problem. And they go, hey man, that's cool, okay. Now, I start writing lyrics. I don't know that I'm a writer, and I don't know whether I'm a lyricist, or I start writing these songs. Why? Because it just kind of came, and who's the lyricist? I guess it's me. I write down. So I'm now writing my insides. I'm writing my thoughts.
Right.
The band has never heard this. Commodores have never, they don't know this is inside. My classmates from elementary school, high school, college, they don't know who this guy is. So for the first time, you're getting the inside of what I'm thinking. To the point where even my classmates would ask the question, who writes those songs for you?
Oh, who they thought someone was writing
They
them
thought
for you?
couldn't be me.
Oh, I've never
I'm
thought
the
that.
shyest. I mean, so then all of a sudden, as time went on, you know, I've been along with
You
you
couldn't
guys.
sing them the way you sing them.
But I didn't even know I could sing them until the guy said, well, since you wrote it, you'll sing it. So at that particular point, I kind of discovered myself. Everyone keeps saying to me, tell me about the Commodores. I said, without the Commodores, I never would have discovered Lionel Richie. Because it's true.
Yeah.
Because I had 5 guys that kept saying to me over and over again, Lionel, go back up and do that. Lionel, it's great, just go back up and do. I never would have done that. Whereas I look at American Idol today, and these kids are 15 years old going, I got this. At 15 years old, are you kidding me? It was nowhere near.
We're getting there about that because the confidence. I'm going to talk to you about the American Idol because I got that a little later.
But it finished up this little button here on that. It's that I just discovered the fact that I was a songwriter.
Because it just never stopped. You know what I'm saying? It's never stopped. Your songs, for me, did I ever tell you that, okay, so everyone says to me, who taught me how to do catwalk fashion shows,
Yes.
right? Or how I walk on the runway, whatever they call it. I call it catwalk. And so, yes, my mom showed me one time only. And that was in our house in Southwest London, Streatham. We used to have this green carpet all over the passageway,
Right.
and dark green, and I'll never forget it. And the music that my mother showed me once, and you know my mom, she showed me one time, was to All Night Long.
No.
That is the music, and it was do it again, do it again, do it again. That's how my mom was.
That's how you learned.
And that was my mom. That's who showed me, like, if I had to move, I had to move in this way. Yeah, my mother, that was the song. I never forget it for the rest of my life.
Thank you.
All night long.
Thanks to your mother. Thank you very much.
And so,
Thank you.
and you know what
Thank you,
she's
Mom.
like.
Thank you very
And
much.
so for me, it's you're part of my life. Your songs are part of my life. Penny Lover, Sailor, destiny, just, and they all facets and different parts of my life.
You know what's so great though is that, and the beautiful part about the music is that once songs lock into a love life or in someone's, it becomes a part of their story forever.
Forever.
Forever. I mean, I can tell you how many people walk with me and say, Lionel, I was engaged on your song. Lionel, I went to school on your songs. I had the frat house song, Brick House.
I'm sure you must have millions of people.
There are people in this planet, as long as they don't call me, the last name is Richie, I've got babies everywhere. I've had babies all over. But I keep trying to don't make it.
It's your fault, Lionel. Yeah, it's your fault I got pregnant.
That's why I have 7 kids. Not by me, but then they tell me that.
Oh, you're hilarious. So the Commodores were very supportive of you writing.
Yes.
When did you feel it was time to step aside and go solo?
That's the big transition. And it was not something that I envisioned. It was kind of happening.
It just looked like a natural progression. It didn't look like a...
It appears natural, but remember now, I was depending so much on them. Mm-hmm. They were my alter ego in terms of things that I would never do. Well, I'm in the band, so I have to do it. Right. So going out on stage, I had to do it because I had to stay in the band. And so I kind of developed my confidence from hanging around these guys. And of course, they were family. They're just not a band now anymore.
No.
So just imagine everything from 19 years old to 35, 40. I experienced with these crazy guys. So when people say you left the band, no, I left the family. It's a whole different dynamic.
That's a big thing.
And so what was happening was, little things happened like with Kenny Rogers, with Lady. It became, because everyone wanted to say Lionel Richie and the Commodores. No, we're the Commodores. I just did a song for Kenny.
Right.
And then we did Endless Love, and people want to talk about, so when you have a group interview, everyone goes, Lionel, tell us how you started the band. Oh, I didn't start the band. And of course you could see the eyes rolling with everybody else, and you
came together.
And so you know the story, and of course all the questions are being asked to me.
Do they ask you, what was it like having Debbie Reynolds as your first friend in Hollywood?
Yes, of course. Did they?
What?
No, they didn't ask that question.
Did they ask that question?
But
what was it like? Debbie Reynolds.
I love the way you switch around. This is how Gemini's talk. Stay tuned because we'll bring this back around.
Of course we'll bring it back.
Debbie Reynolds, I met in Las Vegas, believe it or not, and she would come backstage, and she was like the mother, the house mother. She was like the Vegas mother. I never met her before. She wasn't Lionel, darling, Commodores, darling, so good to see you. Have you met the children? Well, here are the children and his Rip Gun. And she names up all these people and she brings back, she's like introducing us to everybody, to the point that when I finally got to solo, and I'm now in, oh my God, she was like the person that would take me, every time I was at a Hollywood party, thank God she would show up because she goes, there's some more people you need to meet, darling, over here in this one.
Bless her.
So she was a sweetheart.
Bless her.
And how ironic that after all of that, the person who gave me my Oscar on stage was Debbie Reynolds.
Really? Oh, I love that.
So it was the
360.
360, and of course she was there again, the house mom.
Oh.
She's always you needed. She had a little thing and she was dapping me down because I was sweating to
Oh,
death.
bless her.
And what was the scarecrow for the Wizard of Oz? I can't think of his name. And Gene Kelly. Those three gave me my Oscar.
Oh, what a trio.
You understand. But
Lionel, your life.
Full story.
Wow, your life.
Full story. I may need you to help me
Will you
write
share
my
it with us one day?
One day, I hope
It's just because you have such an incredible memory.
Well,
it's such a shame not
that's
to.
That's now. It's fading fast.
So now you depart. So you have broken from the family. You have written songs for Kenny Rogers. You have written songs for Diana Ross, amongst others. You have written with Michael Jackson, We Are the World, and Quincy Jones. I mean, where do you go?
I always tell people that the most interesting part about life is that when I wrote these songs, you always think they're going to last forever. But most of the times, the songs don't last forever. I can tell you how many artists today have #1 records. A year from now, 5 years from now, you'll never know the record.
That's not the case with you.
It's stuck.
It's not the case with
Stuck
you.
around.
Stuck on you.
It's stuck on you. Thank you very much. Well, and so what happens is you can't get a PR firm to make that happen.
You cannot.
You can't tell people.
It's a moment in time. You cannot.
It's a moment in time. And so what's happened now is, it's 40 some odd years later, we're talking about, the songs are still here. I'm still here. What do you do? And the answer is you keep doing.
You keep doing, and you do keep doing.
And you reinvent, and things that I'm doing now, for example, you segue into the American Idol. I never would have thought I would be an American Idol.
But I feel like listen, Quincy always says this thing. When you want to learn from someone, if I was a mentee of yours on American Idol, I'll be with my notepad on my knees taking notes. Because what you have to give them, what you have to share is invaluable. You cannot pay for that. I cannot find it in a book.
I went to the University of Motown. That's what I call Motown. Everyone keeps saying it was Motown Record Company. No, it was University of Motown.
Yeah.
And the instructors there were Smokey and Stevie and Marvin Gaye and Berry Gordy. If you want to learn about music business, Berry Gordy. If you want to talk about Hollandosia Holland, how to write a song. All of the instructors were there.
And then you got Quincy.
And then you have Quincy.
Quincy Jones.
Quincy Jones. Lisa always tickles me about every time I use the word Michael and Quincy. And she goes, Michael who? And I go, Michael Jackson. But
we love Lisa. Yeah, we love Lisa.
One name's only, but to think about you.
I know, but that's the thing.
The class.
But you have to say the last names because to you this is your family.
It's the family.
And you've seen so much and lived and been with so many greats. And so you have to tell it to us the last name because I understand it's just a first name basis for you.
Exactly.
But for us, it's like a big deal.
But you know what it is though? It's from now on, I think what I'm doing right now, I've got some popcorn and a nice glass of wine, and I'm kind of enjoying the ride. I'm kind of sitting here
your ride is
and
a beautiful
watching
one.
where it's going. And
long as you keep sharing your music with us. When you show up somewhere, when you have your concerts, you have your own photographer.
Yes.
You take a picture with your fans.
Yes.
You send to your fans.
Yes.
That doesn't happen anymore. The only other person I ever saw do that is Barbara Streisand.
Yeah.
This is the way it should be.
Yeah.
We have to take notes, okay?
Yeah. It's old school.
But it's the right way.
What I learned, truthfully, you want to have your record on the radio? At that time, very simple. Everyone else would say, we get a promotion guy, and he'll come by and we'll give them tickets to the show. No. You get a promotion guy, and you have the promotion guys at the radio station bring their family.
Yeah.
Now, you take a picture not only with the disc jockey or the program director, but you take a picture with his wife and family. Now, the picture with the disc jockey goes into the radio station, but the picture with the family goes on the mantle in the living room.
Yeah.
Try to take Lionel Richie's record out off the radio. It ain't gonna happen because the wife says, if you take Lionel Richie's record off the radio, I'm leaving you. Yeah! You understand how that works? So it's not hocus pocus. It's just what I found is that, and then everybody who stops by the house, they're gonna show you the picture. Now that's just doesn't work for the disc jockey. That also works for people. You take one photograph in a lobby, and now that we've got all of this social media now, one picture is 1,000 people.
Yeah.
One picture is 20 million people. It just depends on who you're taking the picture with and how many followers they have. But the same principle applies.
Yeah.
But when people say no pictures, I go, good for you. That's not how you play the game. That's not how you play the game.
I've been through that period of my life where it's just like, blah, blah, blah.
Oh, no, I do remember.
You do remember.
I do remember.
You do remember.
Should I tell the story? One night we went out to dinner.
Yeah.
And I gotta put you.
Where were we, London?
In London. We were in London. And we had two different philosophies as to how we were going to handle the press. And we get out of the car, and Naomi's going, get back, I hate you, get back, you animals. And I'm going, hi fellas, how are you? Ladies, good to see you. And we were holding hands, and you're trying to attack them, and I'm trying to pull you back. And I said, Naomi, we have to have an agreement.
We have to have an agreement.
on how we're going
But obviously, Lionel's way was the right way, because it's just so much easier to just say, good evening.
How are you?
Nice to see you. And just keep it moving. I feel like I came from my first boyfriend was very anti-press.
I understand.
And so it kind of just was instilled in
I
me
understand.
in a certain way. But
I'll let that.
but
I just had to let them.
No, but
I had to let them know.
so you were saying something interesting about. I'm not sideswinging, but I did say all that. You were saying something interesting about the woman having the picture at home on the mantelpiece.
Yes. Yeah.
Similar story with someone else we're going to be linked to with you. Nelson Mandela, Granddad. When Granddad came to America in 1990, I heard that you had to dress Granddad. You were designated stylist for Granddad.
Can you imagine? I mean, we had assignments.
That was fantastic.
I mean, Nelson Mandela is coming to New York and to LA. When he gets to LA, he has to have proper dress. Because remember now, he's been out of prison, 2-3 weeks? So he's coming over and you know, there was one group that was supposed to be for his, how does he get here? He can't fly Delta.
Yeah.
So he thinks, who's gonna do the private jets? Where's he gonna stay?
Right.
You know, Lionel, what's it gonna be? Okay, we've got the clothes.
Right.
So can you imagine Winnie Mandela, my ex-wife Brenda, we're now at Neiman Marcus running through, because Nelson Mandela can't do it, right? So we're running through Neiman's and Saks and everybody going, she's going, what about this and what about that? And I'm going, get it. Yeah, just imagine that I'm the kid having, and then finally, I hadn't met him before that. And now we get to this wonderful reception that they had. His lines and lines and lines of celebrity waiting to see Madiba, and all of a sudden, Winnie saw me, and she grabs him out of the line, and she comes over to me with him, and she said, Nelson, it's Lionel. And he said, young man. You even got contact. Listen, I will never forget these moments in my life. He said, young man, he said, I want to thank you for your lyrics and for your music because you got me through many years of being in prison. And I started crying on his shoulders. And he was hugging me, and I was on the shoulders of my dad.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, it became a moment in life.
Oh, gosh.
When that was just everything.
Oh, wow.
So I didn't mean to take it to that level, but that's what he meant.
We were both at his last dinner in New York that Robert and Saul threw.
Yes, exactly right.
At Tribeca.
Yes.
Tribeca Grill.
Yes. I still have the pictures. I have all the photos.
But that's where I first saw him. I saw him.
Well, you hadn't met him before then?
No, I saw him when he came through New York, but I hadn't met him. I didn't get to meet him then. I paid my $2,500 ticket that I saved up. It cost almost my rent. And I bought 2 tickets, and I took this lovely journalist called Bob Colacello from Vanity Fair with me as my date. I just wanted to see him.
Yeah.
I just wanted to see him. And I think little Steven, Robert De Niro, and Eddie Murphy hosted that one.
Right.
And he came in, and it was just this light. That's all I can display.
That's true.
And I got to meet him in '93 in Johannesburg, in Horton, in the house.
I was over.
But we were very privileged.
We were
blessed.
Every once in a while, I always say there's the phrase that, God has returned to earth many times. And what we do as human beings, we keep rejecting him every time he comes. Yeah. That was God walking amongst us just for a moment and giving us a bit of knowledge, and then we rejected him and he went away. But the point is that we got a chance to touch the hem of his garment. And
he also believed it's the woman that could get the man to do what he wanted.
That was his philosophy. That was his philosophy. You're right.
Yes, it was. So now, you are in the homes of millions of people on American Idol. What does that feel like? I mean, Lionel, you're a cat with 9 lives.
What's so funny is that through all of this experience, who would have ever thought, I'm now sitting in a restaurant before the pandemic.
Yeah.
And now a 9-year-old passes by the table, stares and goes back and says, Mom, Dad, I told you it was Lionel.
That's bloody amazing.
This is a 9-year-old, excuse me, from Idaho, not from Atlanta.
Amazing.
You know, Idaho. And of course, then you realize what just happened. And it's getting to the point now where a lot of the philosophy that you ever wanted to impart on people, the platform is right there in American Idol. Because in schooling the kids on their art, it's more so schooling them on life. Because surviving this business, as you well know, is the harder part of the whole equation. Anybody can sing, but can you live through it? That's the point. And so, you know, being here, and guess what they gave me? I thought I was going to be the philosopher. They call me Papa Richie. You know, they're 15 years old. So I walk out and I'm thinking, this is going to be cool. And they call me, Papa Richie, thank you so much. I go, Papa Richie, can you call me like maybe Lionel? But it's so endearing.
Hard to get on your team? What do you look for when you're picking in your...
Uniqueness.
Uniqueness.
It's not singing. It's, do you have the character? In other words, I'll name them. I mean,
the drive, the stamina, the thick skin.
Let's think about it. Think about it. I mean, what's your uniqueness? Okay, you sound like Whitney Houston, but who are you? Yes, you sound like The Weeknd, but who are you? Follow me? That's what, I mean, when you came on the modeling scene, it was like, well, who is that? It was just not another.
You don't want to emulate someone. You want to be
you. Who are you? And that's what I'm looking for. If you can own your light, that's it.
Do they understand who they have?
Well, you know,
on this show.
All I can tell you is I'm banking on
the transcends of generations.
I'm banking on their mothers and fathers to school them on what the heck is going on.
I mean, they need to get on their knees, take notes. Life lessons. Now, last question for you. You've seen a lot. You wrote a song, We Are the World, which was to unite us with what was happening then about Africa.
Yes.
Don't you feel we need a song right now to unite us about what's happening with racism across the world, discrimination, of culture, of just aggression, of, I don't know. We need to be united in some way.
You know what, that question has been posed many, many times. And I always tell people that I was so upset when we did We Are the World.
Why?
Because it took a hit record to get people to understand that people are suffering and dying. It took a hit record. It took Bruce Springsteen. It took all of us to sit there and try. Well, we had to sell a hit record. We had to sell something hip instead of saying, can anybody help this village right here? They're dying. Can anybody? How sick are we as a society? We are human beings. So when someone says we're going to write another song, I say, no, we've written all the songs we need to write. Play that song again. Because if you can play What's Going On in 1970 and then play What's Going On by Marvin Gaye in 2021, and you can play We Are the World in the 80s and then play We Are the World in 21, I don't need to write any more lyrics. We need to do what that song, those songs are telling you, they're the markers of where we are as a human race. And my problem that I'm having now is how do we forget? I mean, how do you have every movie about slavery and you still don't understand slavery? How do you have I've got photographs from my college days. How do you say that didn't happen? What do you mean, we didn't teach that in school? I mean, what part of this did we miss as a society of people? So my thing right now is I really want to just impose on people now to say, wake up. Because, you know, we're not ducks, we're not elephants, we're killing them too, by the way. But I'm just saying, but we're the human race. How would you like your mom and dad to be treated? How would you like your kids to be treated? Just turn it around. Forget about my kids. How would you like your kids? Now it's called respect. How do we get there? Well, we have to wake up as a society of people.
That's right. It's true.
And by the way, I'm not running. I'm not running for any public office.
I understand. No, but again, it's the action. Like, we've seen enough talk, and promises that have not been fulfilled.
No. We know the rhetoric. We're going to have a
so how does it change then?
We're going to have a fact-finding committee and a community outreach program, and we'll solve it. They said that back in the 70s and the 60s and the 80s and the 90s. It's the same story. But when are we going to do it?
Do.
That's the
Action.
problem. Action is what we need.
Do we all need to run to Africa?
I don't know about you, but I saw your place in Africa, and I'm getting a house right next door.
Anytime.
I want the house right next door.
Anytime. You and Lisa and the kids welcome anytime.
You don't
anytime.
you don't want my kids there because they will stay.
You know, we should. But you know, we should plan. We should do it for Christmas.
Done.
We should do for
I would
Christmas
like
because
that.
that's when it's beautiful weather.
Ooh, that's beautiful.
It's really nice.
You know, I got to tell you something. I don't know whether I was interviewing you or you were interviewing me, but this is like, I mean, they don't have any understanding. But this is like we were visiting. We just happened to capture it on.
I love you, Lionel
So cool,
Richie.
so
It
cool.
is such a pleasure. Oh my. Mwah.
Now,
There's 4 of us here. 4 of us.
about six or seven.
6 or 7.
6 or 7. But
Thank you
I've enjoyed
so
it.
much. This is like, honestly, and you just keep going.
Yeah, no,
and
no.
But Lionel, but seriously, I think touring definitely go to the 54th countries of Africa.
If you can get me through all of that, the answer is yes.
I know.
You know exactly who I need to call and talk to.
I know.
Just handle it.
I know you and Dave and Stevie. Damn.
Dave Chappelle. I love Dave Chappelle. Steve, it's gonna be great. I can't wait.
Oh my goodness. Lionel Richie, thank you so much for your time and coming on No Filter. It has been like more than a life lesson. Thank you so much.
Love you so
I'm so
much.
grateful. Love you too. Oh my God. Oh my God. Folks, the one and only Sir Lionel Richie. You heard everything here on No Filter. A lot of life lessons, so I hope you take notes. I'd like you to please like this video and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Saying to you, brown girls out.